And I remember when my husband left for work one day, and he was gone, and I was, I worked from home most of the time at that time when my two littlest guys were toddlers, and then I'd had a third son, so I had three kids under the age of 4 at that time. And I just looked around the house even and just saw the mess. And so, triggers are kind of anything that will set you off. It could be the sleepless night, but it could just be the messy house around you because there's just not enough time to keep up with everything, especially when they're
Mm-hmm.
very young or when they're older, as teenagers. You're like, man, I've done so much for you. And then they get very, sullen or moody, or they're just talking to you like disrespectful. And you're like, your mama did not raise you that way. Like, what is going on here? Right. And so there's just like the whole mix of things that can trigger you and set you off. And I realized, like, I just felt like the Lord say to me, you're here with these kids. They are a blessing. They are a gift to you. But you have to stop blaming the triggers and the circumstances and trying to fix everything. This is positionally where I have you in order to make you into a Christ-like person, to be on fire for me. I'm going to have to refine you. And he
Mm-hmm.
used my children to do that and those circumstances. And I just kept in this vicious cycle for way too long until when I sent my husband off that one day, just something clicked. I was snapping all over the place. I had a neighbor come knock on the door. I was afraid that they'd overheard me. And I was just like, this is a mess. I can't keep doing this. And so I just determined, I was like, I'm going to look in the Bible. What does God say about anger? And how does he parent me as a loving father? Like, what does that look like? And then I need to do that. And so I just sat myself down when the kids would nap, which was kind of like a rare, special time for me to like chill for a minute. Instead, I got back into the habit of reading my Bible again and just looking at what does the Bible say about anger. And I was really convicted. There was one verse, there were so many verses, but one of my key verses at that time was Proverbs 29:11, and it says, a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. And I began to learn that, to be angry sometimes is a righteous anger, right? Like, we should be angry when there's sin in the world. There are things that are offensive to us as Christ followers, but
Right.
I was misdirecting my anger toward my children instead of the enemy, who is the source of all of that. And so that's where I had to learn, Amber, you're being foolish as a mom. You didn't grow up and say, hey, when you're a mom, why don't you act like a fool? Be really angry. I was like, this is not working for me. So I had to take that verse to heart and just say, I can quietly hold this back. I can take a minute to pause instead of immediately just letting loose all my emotions and all my anger and all my frustration and saying all the things that I swore I'd never say. And so God just began to slow me down, literally just slow me down, and to bring peace into my heart and mind, and to think, Amber, do you want to be foolish in this moment? Or do you need to quietly hold this back and reevaluate a better response? And that was really my turning point.
How many children do you have at that point when
So
you
there were
reached that?
3 at that time.
But they were
Okay.
all under 4, so that's
They
like
were
a
all under
lot.
4.
All under 4.
And you're like
And
being run ragged hard.
And there are boys who are pretty chill. They didn't live at my house. My boys were like the all boy climb on the outside of the McDonald's play place, right? Structure where all the
Yeah.
parents are like, your child's climbing up over that. And I'm like, yeah, I know, he's fine.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? The testosterone just built, fed off of the next child and the next and the next. And they were just very, very active. It is a miracle that we haven't had we had our first broken bone this last year. So
Oh,
that's amazing because my oldest is 18. I
yeah.
made it 17 years without a broken bone. So
Wow.
we're
Amazing.
doing good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that too. It's amazing we haven't been to the ER very much as well.
Yeah.
Just, knock on wood somewhere.
Yes,
We
right.
have
Yeah.
mastered the super gluing
We
though.
do, yeah, we do
Yeah.
travel with Dermabond, and that's been a
Yes.
lifesaver.
Exactly. Yeah.